Welcome back, fine folks. We're here on our next adventure. We're here in rainy Houston, Texas. We're going to a little museum. Something a little quirky, something a little different. I'm a big fan of museums. I love wax museums, my personal favorite, but here's something a little different. This is the museum, the National Museum of Funeral History. So we're gonna go inside, take a look at funerals, past, present, and future. So let's go in there right now, because it's raining and I'm getting wet. Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
There's the sign as you walk into the front entrance right there. National Museum of Funeral History. The entrance. Check it out, as soon as you walk in right here on the right, you already got a shovel. This right here was the exact shovel they used for the groundbreaking ceremony for this museum, February 18th, 1992. Also right here when you walk in, you're gonna see a presidential funeral hearse. I'm not going to read this whole thing to you. You can pause the video if you want to skim over that. But here it is. Nice and shiny. They keep this thing all waxed up and ready to go. Adjacent to the hearse, we got here a wall kind of, it's going over the funerals of both George and Barbara Bush. By the way, we're in the presidential section of the museum, so right around the corner. This whole section right here is dedicated to George H.W. Bush. And this part of the wall here goes over his funeral services that were held here in the Houston area when he passed. And this train right here, it's the Union Pacific 4141 locomotive. It was created in honor of George H.W. Bush. The paint scheme is based on Air Force One. We got the plaque right here. Right below that, it's a picture of the gravesite of the Bushes. We got George, Barbara, and Bush, all buried right there. Okay, right above this is the original tribute wreath that was presented during the state funeral of President Gerald Ford. It was put together by Yale University. Look at that. That's the actual wreath. We're back over here by the hearse again. I noticed the back door is open. In the back is a casket. Draped over the casket, it's the American flag. Now, if this casket opens up, I'm out of here and this video is abruptly over. But thankfully, all is quiet. Right here we have the newspaper, the Orange County Register. On the front page, Nixon dies. Right of that, they have the Austin American paper, Lyndon B. Johnson dies. And to the right of that, we have the Houston Chronicle. Theodore Roosevelt dies. And then right above that, we have the Boston Daily Globe. President McKinley is dead. These are all pennies, as you can see. It's Abraham Lincoln. Because, you know, he's on the penny. Get it? Look at this. Over here, the many faces of Abe. See how he kind of changed over the years. Needless to say, they don't have a picture of him when he was a vampire hunter. Conspiracy theory? I don't know. Check it out. Honest Abraham Lincoln. And his many faces. We're going to head into the presidential funeral section. The very first president himself. They had this little area for him. George Washington. There he is. Powdered wig and all. A nice little in memoriam here for JFK. A lot of stuff to read here. Not even going to attempt it, but if you can somehow pause it and zoom in, be my guest. Some more newspaper clippings from the Waco Tribune. Right below all that, here's a bust of JFK and a replica casket with the American flag draped over it. This kind of gives you a history of casket, what it's made out of, model, style. Again, feel free to pause it if you would like to read this. And this is interesting. This is the original JFK Eternal Flame. Pretty cool. There it is. Here's another replica casket. It's a replica of the casket that was used for President Ronald Reagan. It's all mahogany. Very nice. There's a replica of the train that was used for Abraham Lincoln's funeral. See his tiny casket right there, loading it up into a carriage. Check it out. There he is, 16th President of the United States. Honest Abraham Lincoln. Here's the replica casket Lincoln was buried in. And there he is right there. Abraham Lincoln. Fast asleep. I don't know, this one's kind of disturbing. It's a replica of Abraham Lincoln's death mask post-assassination. I don't know. There it is. I guess they put that over his head. Very bizarre. So this little contraption I caught out of the corner of my eye, I thought it was a mixer, you know, where you can make smoothies, but nope. It's an embalming machine. It was used to embalm the body of President Harry S. Truman, December 26th, 1972. Yep, not for smoothies. Here's a clipping from the Houston Chronicle, dated December 26, 1972. President Truman is dead. Another clipping from the Daily Oklahoman. Woodrow Wilson dies, 11:15 a.m. And here's this guy, President Warren Harding, 29th president. And to the right of that, the Daily Gazette from Morristown, Tennessee, President Harding, well, he's dead. This little section caught my eye. We got that nice shiny casket right there. Well, This casket is from the Marcellus Casket Factory. It states, "This is the last casket that rolled off the factory line prior to Marcellus Casket Factory closing in 2003. So this is the very last casket that they made. Look. Is that an invoice? And this right here in front of us is a 1938 Henney Packard flower car. Look at that. It's actually sharp. Look how shiny it is. I mean, I don't know who's waxing these things in here, but is it Daniel LaRusso? I don't know. But look at this thing. Pristine. Swing around to the back because the back is open. Where you put the casket right here. Right back there. But thankfully, this one is empty. We're going to roll up over here. We got some more caskets. You fit 2 people in this. Look at that thing. This thing's massive. If you're lucky, you can squeeze a 3rd in there. We're going to check out some of these hearses. Well, this one right here is a 1939 Superior. It's a LaSalle Mount Clair hearse. The window, it says funeral coach. Let's head around the back, see what's inside. Oh, we have a casket. Not a typical casket. Looks like it's made of wicker. Huh, very odd. It's called the basket case. That's what it says. Let me show you. You can pause if you want to read it. Check out the inside of it. Very old-fashioned. Doesn't even have a tape deck. 8-track. Just a simple little radio down at the bottom. Probably can't see it, but trust me, it's there. And over here you see some bagpipes. These bagpipes were used for funerals of fallen firefighters during 9/11. Of course, a very dark day in America's history, 9/11. Hopefully the glare's not too bad. This kind of goes over one of the fire departments that responded on the morning of September 11th. It's ladder 18. You're going to see the fire truck right there that's heavily damaged and the tower's collapsed. Here's a piece right down below from that very fire engine. Look at this bad boy. This is the Cadillac of hearses. Really, literally, this is the Cadillac of hearses. 1951 Superior, to be exact. Let's whip around the back side of this bad boy. Yep, there's a hearse in it. Oh, sorry, not a... Yeah, imagine that, a hearse within a hearse. No, there's a casket in here. I don't know, this thing barely fits. But they call this a bronze deposit casket. Interesting. This one's pretty sharp as well. It's a 1935 Studebaker Dictator Superior hearse. Well, this one's completely empty, so either the corpse is up running around here or no one died today. It's almost as similar to the one we just looked at. But this one's a 1940 LaSalle Touring sedan. You can see this is not a hearse. This carried people during funeral processions. Nice red leather seats. Very 1940s like, I'll say. Now we're going way, way back. Right here in front of us is an 1832 horse-drawn hearse. Let's go around back, see if there's anything hanging out. Whoa. Yep, there's a coffin. It's an 1800s coffin. It's an oak coffin with pewter hardware and a gold leaf finish. It's very thin and narrow, this coffin. So I'm assuming the person that would go in here is anorexic. It's beautiful, actually. It's a children's white hearse from 1900. I don't know, there's a glare on that, so you probably can't see it very well. Let's zip around the back. We do have a casket in here. But yeah, this kind of hearse is made specifically to transport deceased children. We have another old school hearse. It's from the late 1800s. It says the roof itself is covered in leather. Well, as usual, we're going to zip around the back end of this and see if there's anything inside. Well, it's another basket case. You can't see, it's too dark, but yeah, it's another one of those wicker basket caskets. Here we have a 1926 hearse. See what kind of casket's in the back. Oh wow. This is a 1920s broadcloth covered casket. Look at that. I don't know how good this will come across on the video, but from my vantage point, the interior cloth has sparkles on it. So does the underlying of the lid. Interesting. Oh, this one's really nice. This hearse is a 1916 Buick Sayers hearse. I mean, look at the rims on this thing. And heading around to the back end. Wait till you see this casket. Look at that. It's an Italian Renaissance casket. Feel free to pause if you want to read up on this casket, but yeah, that looks very heavy. Look at this. It's a funeral bus. Meaning you can fit more than one casket in it. You see one up there, one down below. Let's walk around to the back end and see what's back there. I guess that's where people, yep, people sit back here. So you can sit in here with the caskets. Yeah, that's a hard no for me. We have this hearse right here. There's no signage telling us what it is. So it's a mystery hearse. So let speculation begin. Oh, spoke too soon. It's a 1921 Rock Falls hearse. This is the Thanks for the Memory section. This is tribute to fallen celebrities. A little tribute to Charlie Daniels, October 28th. what the women wore over the years. They would mourn a loved one. This is a display of how they used to do a wake back in the 19th century. The interior lining of the casket looks like a nice silk material. I don't know. It doesn't say, I look, but we made our way into the early embalming room. Right down here, we have a display of early embalming. This is what they used in the early 20s and 30s. Very medieval in a way, but here's another display of embalming. This is how they embalmed back in the Civil War. They call it the beginning of embalming in America. Looks like some kind of pump apparatus. Here's a replica of a box hearse right back there, and a wooden casket. You used to see these in those Old West photos or Old West movies. The morticians out front. See this wooden casket standing up outside. I don't know. I think I watched too many movies. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're asking yourself. Hey, how did they embalm people back in the Egyptian era? Well, ask no more. Here it is right here. Looks like they just throw you on a table until you start decomposing. Pretty simple little process, I guess. I don't know. There's a replica of the sarcophagus that held King Tut. I'm gonna go check out a replica of an early crematorium. There it is. It's where they burn the body to ashes. I don't know. Kind of looks like a pizza oven to me. Here's an old crematorium door. Cast iron, to be exact. We have something right here. I'm going to attempt to push one of these buttons to see if it does anything. Well, guess it wasn't meant to be that I cremated someone today. Thought that was part of the admission, but oh well. Again, I don't know how good this will come across with the glare, but we're seeing various types of urns used throughout the years. There's a nice one. Here's an interesting looking urn. It kind of looks like a Bluetooth speaker, doesn't it? Here we go. Here is the various urns throughout time. Oh wow, this one caught my eye. It's marble. Look at that one. It's a sapphire seas urn. Wow. Next section. Celebrating the lives and deaths of the popes. So we walk in, we see several displays talking about the history of various popes throughout time. And here sits one right there, staring at me, probably judging me as well. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this pope's name. I don't want to disrespect him, but here you go. You want to attempt that or try to read that, feel free. Probably a little bit of a glare, but wow. This is not a pope. It's a papal gentleman, also referred to as Gentleman of His Holiness. These are attendants of the Pope. They lived in the same household in Vatican City. That's how they dressed. It doesn't say who this is specifically. Hey, but if you know, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I'm curious. In these halls, you see various pictures of people remembering various popes when they pass away. We're going to go to this room to the left. Wow. And right here, this is a replica of how the Pope is displayed once he's deceased, as you saw in those pictures. This hearse right here, it's a 1972 Japanese ceremonial hearse. That's beautiful. Kind of looks like an El Camino if you didn't have the all this on the back end of it. Inside we do have a casket with the little window. Dia de los Muertos. Day of the Dead. Oh, just notice this right here. Look who's peeking in the, I don't know if it's the back door or the front door. I see you. Some replica graves. That you would see in Mexico, all decked out for Day of the Dead. Now right here, this hearse caught my eye. It's a 1973 Mercedes. This was actually used in the funeral of Princess Grace of Monaco, September 18th, 1982. Look at that. I'll tell you a quick story. This hearse, seeing it reminds me of a movie called Burnt Offerings. I don't know if many people have heard of that movie. I think it came out in 77 or 78. But it's one of the first horror movies I saw when I was a kid, but it scared the living crap out of me. Because there was this guy, I'm assuming he was a ghost, but he drove an old-fashioned hearse, had a white face with sunglasses on. And it looked just like this vehicle right here. But thankfully, there's no guy with a powdered white face wearing sunglasses in the driver's seat. these, it may seem odd to associate art with death, but yet throughout history, many of the world's significant cultural monuments have been created as memorials. Countless treasured artifacts from past cultures have been preserved largely because of burial rituals. People were actually put in these. You got a fish, a giant crab, down below that, a lobster, a chicken. That's one of my favorites. This is a leopard. You can see the shape of the body. No pun intended. It's where they would put the body. We have a bull and a car, an airplane. Looks like a bald eagle to me. Last but not least, a fishing canoe. All right, folks, that does it from the National Museum of Funeral History here in Houston, Texas. Highly recommend this place. If you're in town, stop by here. It's a quirky, unique place. I've not seen any museum like this anywhere else. It's a good little place to stop if you're here in Houston. You want to do something different. Hey, I would say about an hour, hour and a half to go through this if you really want to stop and read all the plaques and all the history. But I do highly recommend. So come on by, National Museum of Funeral History. You won't regret it one dang bit. I'm out of here. Still raining. We'll see you in the next video.